Reading of Brendan Dassey trial, transcript day 2, page 37, continuation of Fremgen's cross-examination of Tyson. All right, where was I? Here we go. Okay, so when you process it and try to extract fingerprints, then is that sent off to the crime lab for some sort of a review to determine whether or not it matches anyone? Our focus for the bleach bottle was not so much fingerprints. Because it was in Steve's trailer, we assumed his fingerprints would be on it. We were looking more for any type of DNA evidence, blood or anything like that. But you didn't check to see if someone else's fingerprints were on it? We did not check it for fingerprints. We were specifically looking for DNA. When you were involved, you indicated with the second time the RAV4 was processed. And I guess I shouldn't say second. It may have been processed a number of times. As far as your involvement, you were involved the first time with securing the RAV4. Yes. Correct? And the second time with obtaining some swabs of the hood latch? Correct. Do you know how many times the vehicle had been opened and closed in between those 2 times? It came from the crime lab. It was secured in the storage facility. I don't know exactly the answer to that question, no. So you don't know what the crime lab did to the vehicle. I have no idea what the crime lab did to that vehicle. And when you swabbed the latch, you indicated you swabbed looks like the hood was down, the part that you would be facing towards the ground, correct? Yeah, the part that would commonly use your finger to pull up on unlatch the hood. Did you swab just above the latch as well, or just that lower portion of the latch? I believe I did the lower part, and I did all the way around that. Just did the entire latch itself. Okay, so the entire latch? Yeah. Did you swab the interior hood release? No, I did not. Was it because you weren't told to or didn't think about doing it? We weren't instructed to do that. I don't know what was done before that. Our focus was the hood latch and other specific areas. Was it just one swab that you... Yes. Okay. So you didn't have to change your gloves then? I changed gloves from the time that I swabbed the door handles to the time that I went and did the hood latch. When you opened the hood latch, did you change gloves before you swabbed, or you used the same gloves that you opened the hood latch? I think it was one process. I probably released it, had the cotton applicator, and immediately did the swabbing of the hood latch. Thank you. Attorney Fremgen, nothing else, Judge. The court, any redirect, counsel? Attorney Kratz, that's all for this witness, thank you. The court, you may step down. Attorney Kratz, state would call Agent Kevin Heimerl to the stand. The clerk, please raise your hand. Kevin Heimerl, called as a witness herein, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. The clerk, please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. The witness, Kevin Heimerl, Heimerl. Direct examination by Attorney Kratz. Good morning, Mr. Heimerl. Could you tell the jury, please, how you're employed? I'm employed with the Wisconsin Department of Justice, Division of Criminal Investigation. And what are your duties with the Department of Justice? I'm assigned to the Arson Bureau. My primary assignment is to investigate fires. But my duties also include assisting other bureaus within our agency in other types of investigations. That second regard, that is assisting other agencies, were you asked on November 5 and times after November 5, 2005 to assist in the investigation surrounding the death of Teresa Halbach? Yes, I was. Tell the jury, please, how you first became involved in this investigation. Sunday, I believe it was November 6, I was contacted at my residence by Special Agent Fassbender, I believe, and was asked to respond to Manitowoc County to assist with the investigation, which I did, and I arrived in the early morning hours. How is it that you first assisted in the investigation? I responded to the command post on Avery Road and met with Special Agent Fassbender and Investigator Wiegert and other investigators. Received a briefing as to what information had been obtained at that point, what some of the goals of the investigation were, and some of the activities that were taking place at the scene. My initial assignment was to respond into the city of Manitowoc to conduct an interview with a citizen. Agent Heimerl, of the 7 or 8 days of that, officers were involved in the search of, at least the initial search of the Avery salvage property. How many of those days were you involved in those efforts? I was involved in the initial investigation at the scene for approximately the first week. The majority of my time was spent conducting a neighborhood canvass of the area. What is a neighborhood canvass? A neighborhood canvass is simply going out and trying to make personal face-to-face contact with all individuals that reside in the immediate vicinity of the crime, or people that may work at businesses or locations in the immediate vicinity, and interviewing them and asking them if they have made any observations, seen or heard anything that they feel or that investigators feel may be somehow related to the investigation. Directing your attention then to the 7th, that would be Monday, the 7th of November. Were you involved in and did you participate in such search efforts of the Avery salvage property? Yes, I was assigned to assist with the recovery of some evidence. Describe for the, well, I'm going to have you look at a photograph, exhibit number 95. Tell the jury what it is that exhibit number 95 is. It's a photograph of a steel burn barrel. It was found in the front yard area of Stephen Avery's residence. And could you tell me where the burn barrel was located, please? The gravel driveway that you see in the background behind the barrel is the access roadway or a driveway to provide access to Stephen Avery's trailer and his detached garage. This barrel is north of that driveway, and Stephen Avery's trailer and garage are south of the driveway and to the right of the barrel as you're looking at the photograph. Before you're completed, Agent Heimerl, we'll look at some computer-generated images. But as long as we're on this photo, could you tell us what it is that we're looking at and what's located outside of this particular barrel? You might have a laser pointer up there if that's going to help you. Is it most convenient if I use the pointer? I think, yeah. To the right of the barrel is a steel rim from a motor vehicle tire or wheel. Did you have occasion after this particular burn barrel was turned over for your processing to view the interior of the barrel? Yes, I did. Okay, I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 96. Tell us what we're looking at, please. It's a photograph of the interior of the barrel, obviously looking down through the open top of it, and burned debris and so forth inside the barrel. Now, when you look into the interior of the burned barrel, just through your training and experience as a law enforcement officer, and especially with your arson training and experience, were you able to make any conclusions or identifications at that time? When I looked into the barrel and without disturbing anything, it was apparent that all of the material in the barrel had been involved in a fire, that a fire had occurred in the barrel. But I did recognize non-combustible items, metal objects, and what appeared to be possibly glass objects inside the barrel within this debris. In particular, I observed one item that appeared to be a panel or a cover for a Motorola electronic device. After making these observations, Agent Heimerl, what did you do? I fully documented this scene through photographs, and ultimately the barrel and its contents were turned over to the custody of evidence technicians that were assisting with the investigation. Sometime later, that is, sometime after the 7th of November, were you involved in further processing of this barrel, or was in fact that assignment given to somebody else? That assignment was given to others besides myself. I was not involved in that process. You are familiar, are you not, with the processing of the barrel and what was found inside of it? Yes, I am. I'm going to have you look at exhibit number 97. Show that to the jury. Tell us what it is that we're looking at, please. This is a photograph of components for 3 electronic devices that were ultimately recovered from that burn barrel, either by crime lab analysts with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab or the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So these items were examined by not only our crime lab, but also were sent to Virginia to the FBI. Is that right? That's my understanding, yes. And exhibit number 97 is the totality, that is, all of the electronics as laid out on a table from your understanding. Is that right? That's correct. I'm going to jump ahead just a minute and hand you what's been marked as exhibit number 115. Tell us what exhibit number 115 is, please. This is a report, a 2-page report of examination completed by Mr. Curtis Thomas of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's laboratory. He is in a unit assigned to the cryptographic and electronic analysis. All right, do you know what that means? Well, from the title, I can surmise that it involves the analysis of electronic devices and other things. All right, that's not my specialty. In that regard, though, and in your review of exhibit number 115, the FBI report, was Mr. Thomas able to positively identify these electronic components that are shown in the photograph in exhibit number 97? Yes, he was. We'll talk about the individual findings through some other photos, but if you could tell the jury what Mr. Thomas's findings were. Mr. Thomas was able to conclude that the components depicted in the photograph all came from the 3 electronic devices, which he was able to identify as a Canon A310 PowerShot digital camera, a Motorola Razr cellular phone, and a Palm Zyre 31 PDA. Let's go through those one at a time then. I'm going to show you exhibit number 98. Tell us what we're looking at, please. This is a closer photograph of one of those components, which happens to be the front cover plate for a Motorola cellular telephone. And just so the jury understands, these are close-up photographs of the items that were recovered, processed, and eventually identified from that burn barrel outside of Mr. Avery's trailer. Is that correct? That is correct. The FBI was able to compare some of these components to what a new or a identical model Motorola V3 Razr phone looked like. Is that your understanding? Yes. I show you what's been received, marked as exhibit number 99. Tell us what that is, please. This is a photograph of 2 components, the one on the left being the same component we saw in the previous exhibit, the front cover plate for that Motorola Razr cellular telephone, and it's next to an exemplar telephone of the same brand and model. All right, basically to show the jury where that component comes from on a non-damaged or non-burned phone, is that right? Correct. Exhibit 100? Again, this is another comparison photograph of the damaged component that was recovered from the burn barrel next to an exemplar of the Motorola Razr phone. These were, to your understanding, they're prepared by the FBI. Is that right? Correct. And finally, exhibit number 101. Again, this is a demonstration photo with the component on the left being the fire-damaged keypad plate, if you will, for the corresponding Motorola cellular phone. Again, the object on the left was recovered from the burn barrel. This same process, that is, the identification process, occurred with the camera that was recovered from Mr. Avery's burn barrel. That is the Canon PowerShot A310. I think you testified to that, but I'm going to show you exhibit number 102. Tell us what we're looking at, please. That is a photograph of one of the components for the Canon A310 PowerShot digital camera, and the etched or embossed wording is visible and identifies it as a PowerShot A310. As I zoom in, you probably don't have to be an expert to do this, but you can see it says PowerShot A310. Is that right? That's correct. Agent Heimerl, throughout the search of this property and throughout the investigation, were you asked on occasion to assist in post-recovery analysis? That is, analysis of items that have been recovered from the Avery property? Yes, I was. Specifically, what's been referred to as the burn area or the burn pit behind Mr. Avery's garage. Were you at some point asked to assist in the sorting or sifting process of those items? Yes, I was. Could you describe that process for the jury, please? During the initial week of the on-scene investigation, other investigators recovered a large amount of burned debris and material from locations on the Avery property. Specifically, a large burn pit or burn area directly behind Stephen Avery's residence. And it's my understanding, as well as other areas where burned debris had been found. In addition to that, several burn barrels, to include the one from the front yard of Stephen Avery's residence, were recovered from the scene and removed from the scene, and all of this material was initially taken to the Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Subsequent to that, the burned debris and material underwent a very detailed examination to attempt to recover any other potential evidence from that material. What kind of evidence was law enforcement looking for at that time? We, myself, and other investigators were looking for, number one, any items that were readily recognized or believed could be human remains. Other materials that we felt may have been related to clothing or electronic devices. We were looking for potential weapons, bullet fragments, bullet casings, any items that we felt may be relevant to the death of Teresa Halbach. This process, this sifting and sorting process, I'm just going to show you exhibit number 103. First of all, tell us what it is that we're looking at. This is a photograph that was taken in the basement of the Wisconsin State Crime Lab in Madison. And what does it depict? And if you need to use the laser pointer, go ahead. This depicts basically the process of the system that we implemented to begin examining this debris. And this examination occurred over the course of 4 days. The first 2 days in Madison at this location, and the following 2 days in April of 2006 at the Sheriff's Department at Calumet County. And what we had, the individuals in this photograph include Investigator Wiegert, myself, Special Agent Pevito, and I believe the individual in the back may be Special Agent Holmes or Special Agent Sealer with DCI.